one. I had to turn on the microphone before I started talking, or else you would have been like, "Hey, here we go," and you've been right. Rob Flynn went dumb. I think I might just let this keep going, because this song is not a skippable one. Player River Systems, we're listening to some Modeling of the Well, one of my favorite bands of all time. They have been a huge inspiration. Not necessarily lyrically or musically or anything, just an inspiration on, I think, what I look for in great albums, why I love variety so much. Thank you very much, Truth Warrior. Girl Blowing Water, no, I haven't even gotten a promo for an autopsy, so I haven't listened to very much this week at all. I listened to the new Leprous. I was hoping to listen to a bunch of stuff last night or today. In fact, today was supposed to be a video day, but as you can see by the title of this stream, that did not happen. Not been a good one. Seemed like it was going alright, but in the past couple of hours things have gone really sort of emotionally downhill. So I figured it was best for me to do something that would make me feel, constructive and productive today. Be a new feeling. Yeah, yesterday I ended up feeling pretty decently after the stream, though I did have a bit of I feel like I got like a touch of food poisoning or something in the past 1 or 2 days, because stomach area and all points south have been a little bit on the disturbed side. The new Leprous is a like it or hate it album. If you like it, you'll probably think it's absolutely genius and absolutely adore it. If you don't like it, you'll probably still think it's okay, but not really be completely sold on the direction that they took with it. Myself personally, I'll just spoil it right now, whether I do a review or not. It's a 20 out of 30 for me. Has some really solid material on it at times, and other times it kind of just meanders, if I'm being real. I haven't heard the new Mayhem yet. In fact, I have it sitting in Winamp, ready to go, but I just have not been able to press play. I have heard of Budgie, great new wave of British heavy metal band. In the same category as groups such as Diamond Head, Tigers of Pantang, the early Iron Maiden. That whole entire scene has some pretty neat stuff. It may not be a genre for everybody, especially considering a lot of folks, there are metalheads out there that don't really put new wave of British heavy metal directly in line with metal of today, considering it does have a bit of a, I guess, softer sound by comparison. It's not extreme, but it's metal's forefathers and very important. If we did not have it, we would not be where we are today. I've not heard the new Outset. I do have it. Heart Like a Grave is an extremely good album, probably around I want to say like a 27. The new In Morning is also very good. Both of those albums are terrific. I would expect for their scores to hold up to be on the top 50 list at the end of the year. So positioning will be the only thing that you have to worry about. So I would look at both of those. I do remember, I think I've listened to half. I forget exactly what the score of that was. I could maybe, I'm going to call up my I'm going to call it my log for half. ILO, I don't think I've listened to yet, but I have on like my backlog that I need to get to. The half was a 21. 20.89 specifically. I need to go back and listen to that again, because that was back whenever I wasn't reviewing anything. But man, listen to this weekend. I apparently had like this 2-day stretch that I had. I listened to Death Becomes My Voice by Ringworm, Of Rotten Ruin by Half, Parlous Sang Verse by Vehemence, which is terrific. Thy Station's The Standing Man first chapter, which was awful. I finally scored Moving Backwards by Wheel. And Miss Breaming with Agalemi. Great black metal. It's their debut album. It's their debut, which is crazy. That they're going to end up being one of the surprises of the year, I think. Misbreaming means mistreatment. By the way, neat little note that I decided to throw on with this in a slander. So I might even be saying that incorrectly. A couple that I haven't been able to convey to you guys since the Metal Galaxy review, I will get to momentarily. I'm actually going to get up the next model and track. In fact, we're going to get into 2 songs that are actually part of the queue, but also happen to be part of my my overall favorites by this band. The first of which I've been listening to a lot lately, and may actually bring back some emotion. So if that is the case, then my apologies. Because I was listening to this a lot whenever I was on my way back from Ohio earlier this week. And if you were here for the stream yesterday, you know that the aftermath of that trip for me has been not very good. It has been a full-on emotional breakdown that felt like it came from the most innocent of causes, and felt like it came from doing something, very, very nice and very sweet. At least, maybe, I don't know. I mean, that's a matter of interpretation. I can't exactly speak for anybody whenever it comes to that. Its inception and procreation is 100%, I think, on my mind. It's on the way in which my mind works, or in this case, how it breaks, because part of my personality involves incredible amounts of overthought and a tremendous empathy for those who I care for the greatest. So even if it feels like I caused any sort of harm to them, it is the gravest of it's sort of like getting a knife thrust right into your brain. You're still alive. It hurts. You know that if you remove that knife, it'll probably just cause more pain. So whenever you do, and it does, you're not surprised. But it doesn't make it any easier to get past. Not to mention, there's been so much going on. There's a lot of unknowns that are approaching me in the winter, or should I say, the first months of 2020. Some of which, in fact, a lot of which, have been self-imposed, considering this has just been a really difficult year, man. It's been a really tough year, so maybe I shouldn't be too surprised that my mind sort of broke so easily. Maybe I should be more surprised that it didn't happen a lot sooner. This is Birth Pains of Astral Projection. Let me try that again. This is Birth Pains of Astral Projection by Maudlin of the Well, same band that we've been listening to since the start of the stream. This is off their album Bath. We have 2 songs from them that were requested by Evil Toad last week. And the aftermath of a large playlist of his that we will probably explore more into, because we did get started with it. We'll explore more of it after these two tracks have concluded. This is off of Marlin's album Bath, which is a two-part album, if you want to call it that. It's a double album. That's the word that I'm looking for. It's a double album, and they are very much collective. You know what I mean? Like they run within one another, and it's actually an Evil Toad. This might be something that you may already know, or maybe something that will interest you. The two songs, and I will get to that in a moment. Evil Toad, thank you in advance. The duality of the albums, Bath and Leaving Your Body Map, are linked together not only by their release date, but also by a track that was released afterward entitled The Secret Song, which unlocks a big-time puzzle that is apparently locked behind the lyrics and the mysticism and religion, quote, in air quotes, of certain songs and lyrics within the album. The Secret Song mentions 8 specific parts, and it all is sort of twisted around a big mystery from Toby Driver's head that's all revolving around the wisdom and the movement between the steps and the sephiroths of the Kabbalah. And it seems like that whenever these albums first came out, which was about 20 years ago, it's going to be 20 years in about 2 or 3, I think. It seemed like there was a couple of people that were actively trying to decipher the code and actively trying to find the solution. And I guess one individual on a message board did get very close. I was looking at that archived post and need to study it a little bit more thoroughly to see if I can't take on the challenge and figure it out myself. But of course, my wisdom and knowledge of Kabbalism, of the Sephiroth, and that is very limited. If you ever look into it and look at the different spheres and the different steps of it, you'll actually find a lot of heavy metal band names that you might be very familiar with, such as Belphegor. So if you're ever curious about where your favorite band's names came from, there's a very strong possibility that it did come with some sort of religious or mystic background, or it could just be a name that's based off of a translation from their country of origin, in the case of like Miss Brimming and the like. There's a lot of interesting history behind some of the bands that we love's names. However, I do want to look at, oh my gosh, Toad, that's incredibly generous, man. Dude, that's $50 to $4 from Evil Toad saying, alright, here you go, let's add this to the queue I already have for today. Play Union by ILO in its entirety. Yeah, we'll probably get to that by that'll probably end up on Monday, which we will still stream on Monday unless of course something else happens, because we were supposed to stream this past Monday, and listen, me going out there, it might seem like that was just a personal call. It was necessary. What I witnessed was somebody who was shattered, and I understand that, the sort of turnaround is that I here am shattered, but this is a person that does not have streaming. They don't have a YouTube channel that doesn't have those outlets available. Their career was their career, and that dissipated. And whenever somebody tells you that they need a hug and you love them, somebody tells you they feel like they have nobody, you go out there and you show them that they have somebody. That's how I feel about that. And if they still don't believe it, don't worry about it. Just go out there and be their somebody. Blackwater, I have no idea. I really haven't talked with her since, and I think that's partially my own fault. That's partially my own hand, because I hate, very similarly to how this whole thing got started, I'm not the type that asks for help very easily. In many ways, it feels like I leave breadcrumbs, and then whenever someone shows an interest is whenever I'll finally sort of break down my walls. But I think it is a conversation that's going to need to be had sometime in the future, sooner rather than later, because it may be the only way that I break out of this. What if you don't have a soul to be there for you? Oh man. Brother or sister, whatever it may be, Truth Warrior, then I'm glad that you came to the stream. I'm very glad you came to the stream, then. Keep coming. Keep coming. We can be those souls. This is a really good community. And I'm not saying it because it's mine. To be perfectly honest, I would say the people in this community far exceed anything that I do. Their level of care, their level of empathy, is a terrific outlet. I'm very pleased. Dominant Persona, this is Birth Pains of Astral Projection. That's the name of the song. The name of the artist is Maudlin of the Well. You've missed the last couple Rotting Christ albums. Well, you missed a couple of good ones. Rituals was excellent. Rituals was excellent. They are incredibly solid. They are an incredibly solid band. It's amazing to know that their career has spanned 30 years so far, and that it just seems like they are not slowing down. They are a great group. If you can get past their name, if you happen to be a Christian or whatever it may be, if you can get past that, then you're going to get some really, really solid music out of it. You know, you're going to feel like you discovered something. You feel the older that you get, the more depressed you feel. The 2010s have been the worst decade of my life. Lost my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and my job. Now I just don't feel Mark. In that case, yes. I believe that as you get older, the losses that you sort of take on, it doesn't get any easier to handle. It doesn't get any friendlier, if that's even the word to use. They become magnified by a billion. One moment, please, and I'll continue this thought. Okay, that's an incredible amount of loss that you've suffered throughout this decade. And I feel empathy for that, because I was even just looking at a post that one of those like memories from a couple of years ago, speaking directly about how the Thanksgiving table between my family and myself has become incredibly small. My parents are still alive, but that's about it. That's really just about all of them that's still alive, and also within town where they would want to come in. My father has a brother that is still living, though he's going through some health issues that have us a bit scared. But all of my grandparents are gone. Pretty much all of their brothers and sisters, so any sort of like great uncles or great aunts are gone. An aunt of mine who was married to my mother's brother, so my uncle, she has taken the family a completely different direction. So I don't see any of them anymore. Watching that table get smaller and smaller and knowing how big it once was is incredibly soul-crushing. And it makes you remember a lot of people all at the same time. So it's extremely possible that you could be more depressed the older that you get. It's extremely possible. We have excerpt from 6, I guess that would be trillion miles before the first, or the revisitation of the Blue Ghost. I know, it's a long song title. It's a long song title. Will be a difficult one to transverse into chat. This is another Modeling track. This is from Part the Second, which was their 4th and final full-length release that was actually crowdfunded just a couple of, well, I say a couple of years ago. It's actually been 10 years ago. But this one I would actually just recommend looking up Part the Second. You're a chick, truth warrior, then, guy or girl, this is a community that wants to be there, and I want to be there. I'm sorry if you feel like you don't have a soul that cares. And that whenever I was encountered with that situation where that's what a fellow chatter, a fellow member of the nation, my tech department, Let Us Death, whenever she said that to me, she felt like she had nobody. After I was able to pick my heart up off of the ground, I made the assessment instantaneously that I was going out there, and initially my plot was to go right then, right there, not think, drop everything I was doing, and leave. It was a little late though, and honestly, if there's one thing I regret is not fulfilling that. It's something whenever, but I know it was still appreciated because between Sunday night and before I left on Monday morning or early afternoon, I think Let Us Death asked me around 10 to 12 times if I actually was coming out. And every single time she did, it told me two things. It told me that she felt like she couldn't depend on anybody. So the whole entire prospect of it happening was altogether unbelievable. And the second thing that it told me was there was absolutely no way that I could say no and not show up, because I'm not crushing this soul, I'm not crushing this spirit. I already feel like I've done harm, but that's a story that I told yesterday, and I don't really want to talk very much about once again. But I was not going to cause that level of harm. Absolutely not. So with respect, I'm not going to talk about that very much, or I shouldn't really be. Part of me feels like I shouldn't have talked about it at all, because it's kind of private. It's not fair. But it's on my mind. It's on my soul. It's what's there has to be a little bit of transparency, especially whenever it comes to having plans, one plan made and having it be deviated and stuff like that. And I love all of you, but there was a deviation that I was so incredibly ready to do, and it was a deviation that I would do again 100% of the time. So I'm sorry, but that is the level of importance that this had. Period. Truth Warrior, if there's a lot of difficulty with people accepting you for the person that you are, one thing that I would recommend, one thing that I would certainly add, some people are never going to understand that. Their personalities are always going to see things in very black and white, and it makes it very difficult to feel close to somebody whenever they are constantly seemingly judging you for your actions or who you are, your very identity. And that makes it difficult to trust. It makes it difficult to believe that you can actually depend on somebody. And if they show that you cannot, then my best advice would be not to. I know that it sucks, but if there's one thing that I really wish would happen in some people's lives, is that they look at those who are not being dependable, or those who don't feel like it is their job to be a friend or to make somebody feel better, build them up. I wish that folks were able to escape from those situations, to leave, have sort of the power and sort of the energy to do so. I know that it's not easy. I can tell you that it is not easy at all. Hi, Travorti. I actually wanted to do one more of those before I departed. If I would have stuck around, I probably would have brought it back just as a fun little thing to do. The reason why I stopped was actually because they were becoming not fun, They were becoming more tedious than they were fun. I appreciate that a lot of folks enjoyed that, whether it was for positive reasons or for negative reasons. I'm glad that folks watched it, and I'm glad that folks liked it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You have a big jealousy problem? I don't think I'm so much a jealous individual as I am just, my worry is that I don't find myself to be a good person. Like, I don't see myself as this unforgettable being that will constantly, like a lover or a friend will, always stand behind or stand with. I've been cheated on before. I've had, relationships end where folks have jumped ship to another very quickly. I have struggled a lot with identity because of that, especially in the 2000s, because it seemed like I was very replaceable. And in fact, I was talking with another friend of mine just the other day, and she was apologetic to me over something that happened 12 years ago, back in 2007. Ironically, the same year that I met Lettuce Death, and we became friends. And it still had, this event, this choice that she had to make was between myself and somebody else, and she chose the other party. And she still felt guilt over that, all these years later. And finally, I just told her, I said, hey, take that guilt off your conscience. We're still friends. We're still incredibly close, I still want to come out there and meet your kids, I was close with her family. I was close with her grandparents even. Her grandparents were sending me, Valentine's Day cards and stuff whenever I was in college. That was a really good friend to have. And somebody who I cared about a lot, and still do. You still care about your friends. It's what you do. But I struggled a lot with that. So it's not so much that I'm a jealous individual. It's just I'm fearful. And I think that's the way I need to present it to people. And I think it's hard to. I think it's hard to accept from other folks because it looks and has the, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and the duck is acting like a jealous duck, then it's a jealous duck, right? But it's more of a fear of being replaced. It's more of a fear of not being good enough. It's more of a fear that that no matter how much I do for somebody else, it's never enough. If that makes any sense. Thought I was done with YouTube. I am. I'll be done with YouTube at the end of December of this year. It's happening. In many ways, I'm kind of like partially done with it now. You see how quick I get videos out? Not very quick. You want more than casual friendships, but they are hard to find. Yes, they are. And one thing that's very important, again, is to have a friendship where they are dependable. So, that's just sort of how that is. My end of the year list will come in December. Ethan, there's a whole video that actually is talking about that, and it's just time to move on. I will still be streaming in 2020 and beyond, though. That is one thing I will still maintain. It's time for me to do something else and take care of myself a little bit, if I'm being honest. Because if there's one thing that YouTube has not done, it is not taken care of me. It really hasn't. As selfish and self-centered as that sounds, I've been doing this for 11 years. I've been doing it for 11 years for peanuts, and haven't really done much to help myself in that time frame. No wonder I'm, the head case that I am. It's time to do a couple things for me. So I need to backpedal a little bit in order to get to our queue, and I need to remember where we were at. Oh, I actually do remember exactly where we were at. YouTube has a new feature that I wish to actually try out. Because I feel like if it does work, then it is going to aid us in the best of ways. And that's called queue mode. So it itself may now have its own way to create a queue. So for the next couple of seconds, I'm actually going to give this a try. Oh wait, hold on. Oops. See if maybe I can get this to actually work. Because if it does, that's super cool. I'm going to just toss 3 tracks on here just to give it the opportunity to function. Now, to give you guys a little bit of background, last Friday, not yesterday, but the Friday before, Evil Toad dropped a massive donation with a huge playlist. And all these tracks are over 10 minutes in length. He's actually running something right now where he's listening to, like, God, 200 hours worth of 10-minute long songs. And he shared a number of them with us, and so we are going to be going through this playlist. We got through a couple of those tracks, including Citadel by Neoblivis Garst in its entirety last week. But we need to get through and listen to a lot more of it. So as of right now, we have, how many songs do we have left? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's see here. 8, 9. We have 10 tracks. And that sounds like it's not that many, but it's actually many. Because there's a lot of time that spans with it. We've only gotten to about, I want to say, 60 minutes of the playlist and the donation. I'll let you guys do the math. The donation was for 3 hours and 20 minutes, and then there was an additional 17 minutes from a prior stream that he was able to utilize. So it was like 3 hours and 37 minutes worth of music. So we do have ways to go. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with a band called Spires. If you guys remember last year's Album of the Year list, you may know the name because we did talk about them on there. This song is entitled Martyr. That is an ad. That is not... Hey, you stop that. You stop that. You didn't even give me the opportunity to expand this. I'm mad. My apologies if I didn't answer any questions that were here during that latest little spiel, considering I have to look away from chat in order to do all of this. I don't have multiple screens. So yeah. You're listening, but you're at the store. Oh God. Listening at the store. I'm sure that everybody is just looking at you like, what is that boy doing? What's that gent doing? But yeah, we're going to at least have a couple of tracks here. I'm probably going to stream until about 6. So we're going to get to probably anywhere between 3 and 5 songs, maybe a couple more than that. Since it's 4:30 already, maybe we'll go a little bit longer than that. I don't know. I'm kind of just playing all of this by ear. I'm just really just sort of playing all of this by ear. Connor, this is Spires, and the name of the song is Martyr. Oh God, the new Now album came out yesterday too? Good Lord. What is it with the tail end of October where it's always like a huge release? Like Haven. Although it's not always October. I can remember a couple years back it was September. September had like 30 to like 40 albums that I wanted to do reviews of, and I think I was only able to get to like maybe 20 of them. There was just so much. There's so much. If I get some time to listen to it and record a top 10 worst songs, let me see if I can find the playlist for that. Here's the big thing. I don't know jack and squat about popular music anymore. Now that's what I call yacht rock. Oh my, the fuck is that? That's, wow. What number is it? Like, what number are we up to? 72? 75, 79, 86, 81, 103. Oh, that's a UK. That's a UK for sure. Now that's what I call music took over America, by being a bunch of douche cleaners. Fuck them. Oh, so 72 is the one. Oh, very good. I might actually be able to get a playlist by looking at Target. Of all places. Why, thank you, Target. You jackass. Can you give me a playlist? Can you give me a playlist? Okay, show more. Well, that's a lot of great info. Thank you so much for that shitty information, you piece of shit. I hate you so much. Please destroy yourself. Like, I know little to nothing about the stuff that is out these days. It was a little bit easier, and this might be another reason why the videos were a little easier and better to make. Whenever I worked at FYE, I actually had to hear this stuff. I had to actually hear this stuff because we had to actually put the album on and play it. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We have Senorita with Shawn Mendes and Camila, whoever, who cares. Ariana Grande and Social House. That probably won't be on the list. I'm biased. I don't care. Fuck you. You Need to Calm Down by Taylor Swift. Joy. I didn't listen to that album. Only Human by the Jonas Brothers. Oh, there's a Post Malone song on here. Lil Tecca. Who? Da Baby. Huh? Oh, a new Lil Nas X song that probably is not going to get the airplay that Old Town Road did. Which I actually don't mind that song. I think that song's okay. Actually, I think that's okay. Out of My Head by Khalid and John Mayer. That's an interesting combination. How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith. Sam Smith's pretty decent. Motivation by Normani. I feel like half of these artists, you see them once on Now, and then you never hear from them again. They have, like, not even a one-hit wonder. You know what I'm saying? Love Me Less featuring Quinn XCII. This is saying that Quinn XCII is the main artist, so it's a Max song, or is it a Quinn XCII song? Who knows? Who cares? God. Hey Look Ma, I Made It by Panic at the Disco. That'll probably be on the list, because fuck that band. Ellie Goulding and Juice WRLD with Hate Me. Zara Larsson with All the Time. Marshmello and Kane Brown. I went from knowing nothing about Marshmello before watching an episode of The Masked Singer to now him basically following me as though he's stalking my ass. It's kind of weird. Vertigo by Emma Charles. This is the What's Next section. Caffeine by Lolo Zuali. Easy by Frawley. All Day by John Lindell. And Pop Out by Polo G and Little TJ. Oh dear! Oh dear. Yikes. This is going to be an introduction for me to, let's see, how many songs are on here? 21. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's like 11 out of 21 artists that I will be hearing for the very first time whenever I listen to this, if I do. A lot of new artists polluting my Last FM, which if you use Last FM, lastfm/user/lightbulb sun, spelled just like the Porcupine Tree album, S-U-N, not S-O-N, and the S is capitalized, the L and the S, the L in lightbulb, and the S in sun is capital. You know, I'm just going to throw it in chat. I'm just going to toss it in chat for all you fine folks. Just like that. Just like that. Yes, former 24/7 champion Marshmello. Lord have mercy, why did that happen? The world may never know. With $1 from Justin Neely coming through, asking how I'm doing today, brother. Not good. Not good, man. It's been real bad, man. I wasn't supposed to stream today. I was supposed to listen to new releases and record videos. I couldn't get myself motivated to get off of this couch. That's why I'm streaming today as opposed to, I'm still going to be streaming Monday, but that was supposed to be the next stream. As dumb as it sounds, I didn't want to be alone. I wanted to talk with somebody. So you guys are great people to talk to. You're wonderful. So I felt that it was great. Whenever it comes to anything in the 70s, I wouldn't concern yourself about whether it's pop or rock all that much, because those, in that case, that was popular. I would just call that rock music. Some of it's more arena rock, some of it's more AOR, which is album-oriented rock. Some are more blues or southern rock. There are designations for all of these things, but very similar to the designations within some of the heavy metal universe. You know, the deeper you get into sub-genres and things like that, the deeper you get, the more it honestly doesn't matter. The more it honestly does not matter, if I'm being completely honest with you. I'm popping some vitamin C, if I'm being honest with you. Again. Thoughts on the Bee Gees? The Bee Gees are amazing. I understand that a lot of people like to make fun of disco, make fun of Saturday Night Fever and stuff like that. The Bee Gees' contributions to that album are one of a kind. And plus, they were originally not even that style of music. They were more attuned to like the Beatles. Wow, this Q thing is actually going to work. That's amazing. Up next, we have The Sorrow Within by the band When Nothing Remains. Again, we're playing tracks from Evil Toad's massive donation from a week ago. I think with the Eagles, the problem is that they play the same couple of songs. The Doobies as well. Really, a lot of that stuff. There is an absence of disc jockeys out there that are working for these classic rock or these oldie stations that are not pulling the whole let's look into deep cuts shows anymore. And I think that's mostly come with the death of the radio having the traditional, larger audience. A lot of those. A lot of the stations that seem to go deeper into that are housed on XM or, Sirius radio. How you doing, Mystical Astronomer? I hope that you are doing well today. Cliffhanger by Shadow Gallery is currently on your headphones. Very great song. Cliffhanger 2, actually, I think is even better, if you can believe that. Really great 2-song cycle. This is When Nothing Remains. That's the name of the band. The name of the song is The Sorrow Within. Getting that doom vibe from this, and I love it. Blackwater West Cliffhanger is a duality of songs by the band Shadow Gallery. They appear on 2 separate albums. First of which I believe is on Carved in Stone. Shadow Gallery is terrific. Pallbearer is wonderful. Although I find it interesting that there are a lot of people out there that apparently are not liking the direction that they have been going with their stuff. Like, I've listened to their older stuff. I think that there's a tremendous amount of emotion that's still being displayed between that and the new material. I think it's all very good. Galaxy Punk Ahab had an album a couple years ago, The Boats of the Glen Catterick, that actually was not only an extremely excellent release, however, it also spawned a book purchase for me, because The Boats of the Glen Catterick is based off a William Hope Hobson book by the same name. That was sort of contemporary of H.P. Lovecraft. And whenever I actually picked up that book, it was not readily or easily available on Amazon, but apparently like a month or so after that, very readily available. For Ahab, it's they're due. They are very due, because I believe Boats came out in 2016, so it has been a number of years. It has been a number of years, but they do seem to take their time between albums. Like going all the way back to like, what was it, Call of the Wretched Sea? That was more than 10 years ago. They were only like 4 albums deep into their discography. Oh, it was 15. Man, it's been that long? Are you fucking kidding me? It's been that long. Jesus. That, in many ways, sort of frustrates me, because... Excuse me. Because, wow, that was my first year in this apartment. Oh, Boats is absolutely wonderful. I love that disc. Could you imagine a radio station playing something like this? Could you imagine a radio station whose sole purpose was to get bands like this over? This is awesome, by the way. You'll never find one of those, what do they call those girls now? Turbo girls or whatever. You won't hear any of them listening to this. All those ones that look like, all the single moms from high school, that you knew from back then. They were all happy then, and then they had a kid, and all of a sudden they had a fake old glow up, but they're all single. Skahamish. Wait, Skahamish. That's really soon, isn't it? '80s revival bands are pretty awesome. I like the idea, but I also feel like it applies only to a certain breed of metalhead. If it's able to cross into the appeal of the modern and the new metalhead, then that's even better. And I think it has. Music in general, I feel, as a new generation comes out, they want to put their own spin on the things that they really love. So if you have some folks that are knee-deep in the classics from the 1980s, and they want to put together a band that just, really pays homage, pays tribute to that, I think it's, there's nothing that's not positive about that. This is When Nothing Remains, with their song The Sorrow Within. Blue Flower. I like that name. This is Trev Wortney on the account linked to my credit card, and I'd love to see you make at least 1 or 2 more videos from the series Top 10 Worst Songs on Now Albums Before You Retire. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. There will be, like I said, probably one more. That's something that I talked about in a stream back in August, so it may not happen right away, so it may not necessarily be fresh since the album just came out yesterday, but I do need to do that. I need to let that out one more time. I don't know who produced this. There's honestly not a lot of information about this. Now, Blue Flower, I had mentioned that before. That would be kind of a neat thing to do, sort of put that to rest. Master Sword, this is The Sorrow Within by the band When Nothing Remains. And I'll type it in chat. I hope you guys are ready for a long one, because we have a long track coming up next. 28 minutes. 28-minute long epic to follow this up. How about that? That's crazy, huh? And the question is, will anybody know it? Who knows Abyssic? Who out there knows the band Abyssic? ABYSSIC. If you're aware, then you probably know what song that it is. Galaxy Punk, thank you very much. And yeah, this song does sort of fit the day nicely. It also is inclusive that it is overcast. It's been rainy out a little bit and very dreary. What was that Maudlin of the Well song that played, and where should I start with their discography? I like avant-garde metal, I love Ved, Blends, Ends, / Tiamat. Well, I played a number of the songs, I played a number of tracks, and really, I think I played one from almost every album. So, if it was the softer track that we played last, it was from their album Part the Second. It's a little bit of a softer album, so it's kind of a friendly dive into the band. I started off with Bath and Leaving Your Body Map. That's a duo of albums. They were released on the same day. They're connected. It kind of gives you everything that you can expect from the band. And then Part the Second, like I said, is a little less than that. In terms of being, completely all over the place and random. And Myford Psychobells, A Seed Combustible, which is their debut album, is a little bit more out there. It's a little bit more kind of nuts. So, my recommendation is to start with Bath and Leaving Your Body Map, but you can pretty much start anywhere you like. They're the kind of band where you're not, like, they have a signature sound, I would say, like something that can somewhat identify them as who you're listening to. I think it's a little something to do with Greg Massey's tone and Toby's voice, the growls. But songs such as Birth Pains of Astral Projection was my first obsession with the band. Bizarre Flowers of Violent Mist is another terrific song off of that duality that I loved. Geography is very soft. It almost sounds like a pop song. Blight of River Systems shows impressive guitar work and male-female vocals. The more that you get into them, the more you'll really love the songs that are unconventional and kind of strange. It had growling, so it was probably, if you were late, it was probably Birth Pains of Astral Projection, which is off of Bath. Alongside the growling, did it also have soft vocals near its end? The new Sun I haven't listened to yet, Blackwater. It's on my to-do list. I love Life Metal, though. Life Metal was awesome. By the way, welcome to 28 minutes of your life going toward A Winter's Tale by Abyssic. Listen to this hulking mammoth. This damn thing. Whenever you take a look at this, you just look at the cover and it just looks like the frickin' heavens are about to just destroy a planet. And the sun is almost like the eye of a hurricane. Very Seattle Agawak town. Yeah, it's Birth Pains of Astral Projection, for sure. For sure. New Thy Catafalque coming in January. It's terrific. I feel like they're a band that have gotten a little bit more traction the past couple years. Zanaria's Mad World cover is good for a listen when you're in that kind of mood. Mad World just in general. That song is... It's surprising that some tracks are so simplistic, yet that's where all the emotion is carried from. Sometimes what I say in reviews is that less is more. Gary Jules' the original version of Mad World is a great example of that. That song does not need to be over the top with its instrumentalization or composition. His voice alone is all that's necessary. And just the subtle hidden tones that you hear in the background. There's one thing that a lot of modern pop really suffers from, and a lot of thing that a lot of metal also suffers from sometimes is that it gets very overproduced. There's way too much going on. They think that there needs to be a lot happening, or else you're not going to capture the attention of your listener. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. If you hook them with emotional depth or with power within your lyricism, or create just a very haunting, almost cerebral composition, you're going to be almost more effectual than a band that's playing at 320 beats per minute. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. And those that perhaps wouldn't be a fan of that and would rather have that technical 320 beats per minute, they're afraid to explore their emotions, and one day that's going to catch up with them. One day that's going to catch up with them. Probably when they're in prison. Do you know who doesn't give a shit about your emotions? This guy at ass raping you. Thoughts on Fool of Hell? Extremely aggressive, very tight, very good stuff. Would certainly recommend. Better than New Great Old Ones album, I have not as of yet. And I'm like deafeningly curious about it. Like it's to the point where I have it available to me, and I just need to, you know. The funny thing is that one of the things I cited as a reason why I didn't listen to this stuff is because I couldn't get my ass off of this couch because I've just been so freaking depressed. But that's literally been it. Like, not even having the desire to just type something in and just click play. I think it's mostly because I know that I would want to be critical because it all can count toward album of the year, and if I'm in this mode, if I'm in this frame of mind, I'm not going to be wise critically. You know, the only reason why I think I was able to even score the Leprous album yesterday was because I was in a fairly decent frame of mind for a short, you know, for a period in the afternoon. Actually, for most of the afternoon. I was doing a lot better yesterday than I had been Wednesday and Thursday. It's just been a second half of the week to forget. Oh, Mazzy Star. I haven't heard that name in a long time. That was one of those artists that when somebody came in and purchased them from the store, you just looked at them, they looked the part. They really looked the part. And you just sort of nodded at them and just said, right on. You know? You know what I mean? I had a coworker that liked Mazzy Star quite a bit, among a lot of others. Wonderful, wonderful girl. Great person. And, again, very much look the part. Like, you just look at her and you say, you know what? And if she told you that she liked Mazzy Star, you just be like, you know what? I get that. That makes sense. Not saying Mazzy Star fans are a type, but whenever you get to know somebody, you kind of understand why they're into some of the music that they are. This does have a bit of a deeper swallow the sun. And I think the reason why it's a little more orchestrated is I believe this is the whole album. I believe this is the whole album. Either that or this is just the title track of it. The new Leprous album, it's very much you either think it's absolutely genius or you just think it's okay. It has some good moments. Vocally, it's amazing. Like, vocally, it's just knocks it out of the ballpark. But some of the songs meander a little bit, and some of the ideas kind of feel a little bit lost in themselves. So this is a transition that still is a little bit kind of to me, it's a 20. It's 20 out of 30. Oh, so that's just the title track. So it's 4 songs in 80 minutes. Okay. This part right here, this section here, I'm trying to remember what that reminds me of. It reminds me of something. This be considered Funeral Doom? I would consider it, yes. It certainly has the crawl. It certainly has the crawl to it. You know, you have some bands that try to go even slower than this, and that actually, in many ways, ends up being even more distracting than it is helpful for them. Reminds you of a Metroid game. I can see that. Probably like Other M or oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the series they started on GameCube. Well, Eye of Solitude was just awesome. It was really good. I mean, the same way we juxtapose how Altars of Grief did like traditionalist Doom very well. Metroid Prime, that's right. I should have thought of Amazon. I mean, Iris was just such an amazing album. I might be able to find out from this here. Or not. 3 comments, only one shows up. The comment just says, "My Lord." And it's all it says, "My Lord." It's pretty good. I did see that, Evil Toad, yeah. I guess that retrospectively, you have really fallen for that album, which is a good album to fall for. It's a good album to fall for. It's good. I like that one comment though on this video. My Lord. I feel like if you're in a funeral doom band and your album is not at least a half or an hour long, you're not actually in a funeral doom band. Hey Meatman, how you doing, brother? We're currently going through the massive queue that was given to us by Evil Toad, not yesterday, but one Friday ago. So probably won't get to Vectorthon until potentially Monday, my friend. Because it's pretty lengthy. It was a big boy. And I know that you wanted to listen to those albums straight through as opposed to individually. I actually don't think a funeral doom band song needs to be at least 10 minutes. I think you could do it with 8, or 7, or even 4. It just might not have a lot of lyrics to it, if it's 4 minutes. Yeah, man, Meat, how have you been? I know that you were pretty damn sick, brother. Hope that all that is cleared up for you. I'm still feeling like a little bit of a linger of all that. In fact, I should go and take something for my sinuses, because I feel this side of my face starting to really ache. And that was bad news whenever that happened to me over the summer. Yeah, my shit has been more non-illness related. Oh, by the way, you guys are liking this a lot? Well, good, because there's still 15 minutes of it. You still have 15 more minutes to enjoy and love. And again, that callback to that little, as you would call it, the Metroid Prime part, or the Metroid part, very nice little touch. Again, there are little compositional elements there that you may not think really are present in Funeral Doom, but they are. You know, they are utilizing concepts of music the same way as any other band would be. In fact, I think I am actually I'm going to step out for a couple minutes. I'm going to get a little bit of medication for this. I'll do this a weird way, I think. Watch how this works. Back shortly. got those want to join in on the stream and be with me. Honestly, they have been the best these past couple of days. Animals are read people terrifically. They honestly do. They read people terrifically. So as a result, they're a great judge of character usually, unless they themselves have been harmed over their life. My dying bride, I'm assuming, Andy. Hi, Andy. How you doing? The Christmas is here. She's always been loving, but she's been extra loving as of late. She's actually posing for all of you. Well, Galaxy Punky will probably like this this stream. I have 7 of them. I am Cat Dad Extraordinaire. Hey Andy, yeah, it's been a tough ever since Wednesday night. It's been a really hard one. Oh, Chris, thanks. All is not okay. I got into sort of detail with it in the stream yesterday. I kind of don't want to make a habit of talking about it a ton because part of me feels bad for talking about it yesterday because it involves somebody else, and I don't particularly care for airing business and things like that unless I absolutely have to, but I have said a lot, and again, like, I think my main fear is, considering there's someone that does come into this chat every so often, I do not want to, I don't want them coming in and having, you know, their shit sort of aired out, which it really wasn't. You know, I didn't really do that much yesterday, but even just being talked about is not cool, you know. So you know how that kind of goes. We are listening currently to A Winter's Tale by Visick. I appreciate that, Andy, a lot. It means a lot, dude. What happens if I clear this? Does it still play? Oh, it does. Good. YouTube now has a queue system. Someone else apparently wants to come in. They're like pounding on the door. Hello, who are you? Oh, you're fighting. Fighting. Don't do that. Oh, sorry, Christmas. You're right there. Yeah, I just opened this. I'll prop this up a little bit. Yeah, YouTube now has a queue system, so I'll be able to get some stuff going on. Oh wow. Okay, I have missed a couple things that I need to get to. I'll get to that momentarily. I'm going to refill the queue, I guess. If I look for this, or if I like hit this button, this might cut this off. If it does, I apologize. It cut it off. No, it didn't. It didn't. Oh man, YouTube's actually making some improvements. What the fuck? That's incredible. As my headphones crackle out. Wow, they posted a full drum video of this? Damn. Pardon me. to chase one another. Nice. Give me a moment to just get this sort of read going, I guess. So I might have to do this a little differently. Needs to be nice. Ooh! Ah, she got you there. She got you there, Needs. She's getting bold. I have to do this a little bit differently. I have to go with the actual full album string for that. I have gotten to one. Oh, there's an echo. Honestly, nah. Alright, folks. Should be okay now. Yeah, I've only listened to Leprous. I've only listened to that. That's great. I'm going to have to tell a quick story here. And unfortunately, it's not a good one. Oh, there it is. There's Analog Spectre. Okay, here's Analog Spectre by the Vicious Head Society. I'm not going to worry about building a queue right now. This is a track that has a couple of different parts to it, but we're going to listen to the whole thing straight through. Band's name, once again, is The Vicious Head Society. The album is entitled Abject Tomorrow. I want to get to these donations first before I again shift the tone and mood again. Justin with $1 says, "Hey Mark, I gotta leave for about 30 minutes and get cleaned up. I gotta leave for the evening at 6. I'm going with my dad to his friend's house. We're gonna grill some steaks and drink some beer. I need to get out and do something besides work. I'm sorry you're feeling bad. I'm gonna send you an email in response of your stream from yesterday. I would done it last night, but I was tired and didn't feel like it. See you in 30 or less." Hey dude, do what you gotta do, man. I hope you have a good time. I hope you have a good time. I'm going to see my my parents tomorrow for the NASCAR race, and then I'm going to see them again Monday night for the Steeler game. So family's important. Family's important. We have $20 also from Meat Mun, which came in a couple of minutes after that. It says, "Between Lifelines by that one band that released an EP last year, and I hope the fuck they release more music, or Lifetimes rather. You don't have to play this." Oh, Between Lifetimes. Jesus, can I talk? "Between Lifetimes by that one band that released an EP last year, and I hope to fuck they release more music. You don't have to play this today if you don't want to. Just don't read my story on stream, please." Okay, I will actually stop right there in that case. I will stop right there, and I'm going to read this. Oh, dude. That right there, what you sent me, actually plays into this story a little bit, though. So I just, I'm neighbors with a friend of mine that I've known for a pretty long time. I think I've known her about as long as I've known Lettuce Death. Whenever I worked at Spencer's, I met a lot of people that have been my friends that were either my friends for, a while, or I have a couple that are still friends of mine today. so this friend and I, we hung out for a long time. We used to go out and just drive around this area, especially the outskirts, to try to find like weird little things or whatever, and it was always a lot of fun. And in 2000 and I have no idea what just happened. Like Nemo just did some parkour shit. Anyway, and I believe it was 2010 or early 2011. I'm trying to remember what year it was. The year actually doesn't matter, now that I think about it. That friend got me tickets for a show to see Cradle of Filth that she wanted to go to as well. In fact, all of us, like there was a big group of us that ended up going down. We were going to go see Cradle of Filth, Knockmistium, and I'm trying to remember who the third band was on that bill, but it was like a 3 or 4 band bill. The only two that really come to mind for me is Cradle of Filth and Knockmistium, because at that point we didn't know that Blake Judd was an asshole, and I liked Knockmistium a lot at that point. They had just released the Black Metal series, MEDDLE, very similar to the Pink Floyd. So I mean that's pretty cool, you know. So that friend of mine and I, we were going to do that, and it was in fact we did do it, but the show never happened. There was problems at the venue. I think I've told this story before. Well, the reason why I tell it again, we were not the only two people that were in my car. There were 2 other girls. I had a car full of women, and then me driving. So it was myself, my friend Heather, who has been one of my best friends for, like I said, more than a decade, and then 2 girls that I really didn't know very well, but had been kind of hanging around and stuff like that. One's name was Katie, and the other's name was, or is Libby, and their names are Libby and Katie. And it was a very interesting voyage, because back at that point in my life, I did smoke a little weed every once in a while, and happened to do so during that car ride. So it was an interesting car ride. Well, I just found out. Cornell, you're ruining the story. Go back there. There's nothing back there for you. There's nothing behind the TV. You know, behind the TV, bunch of nothingness. Bunch of boring nothingness. I hope he doesn't try to go back there again. It was an extremely interesting car ride. It was actually sort of brought to its epic, this most epic point was whenever we found out that we couldn't see the show. The show was going to be canceled, because whenever we went back, whenever we were going back, I took a turn before a red light. Before a light went from green to red. And there were other cars that were involved that I guess weren't as familiarized with traveling down to Pittsburgh. So apparently they got really, the people in that car, or at least the driver, got really mad at me. So whenever we arranged to all stop at Denny's for just to eat something, because we hadn't eaten anything pretty much since early that afternoon, they decided that they didn't want to eat with us and just kept on going onward. And so there was 2 of the 3 cars that stopped and ate, and we kind of had a ball, whereas the last car did their own thing or whatever. Honestly, despite the fact that we didn't get to see the show, and the whole thing being kind of a gigantic like fucking mess. It was a really great night. It's a night that I still to this day remember pretty well because someone had found, it was in January, and someone found a Santa Claus decoration. And while we were all waiting in line outside of the venue in like super cold weather, we started to crowd surf the Santa, which was amazing. I was feeling better. Hey Cornell, this is the second time I'm trying to get to the freaking point, man. And you're trying to go behind the TV, the door's getting closed. Sorry, dude. You can't be good. Just chill out. I'm not making you have to do this. Grab the curtains and you stir around. Just your mom right here. Sorry, Corey. This is kind of just ruining my flow, but just an absolutely terrific night, one that I'll never forget. But I just learned from that friend, from Heather, that one of the other members of that car passed away last night. And I had seen the story a little bit earlier. Didn't quite believe it, but apparently she had battled quite a bit with trying to find peace. So my guess is it was either depression or mental problems. Either that or maybe some sort of addiction. I hadn't seen or talked with her in quite some time. I wasn't very close with all of them. But just to know that somebody that you shared a car with, even if it was just once, is no longer around is rough. The timing, of course, not very good, all things considered. Again, despite the fact that I did not know her in the best of capacities, she wasn't exactly what I would call like a great friend, or we may have been more of acquaintances, passengers in the same vehicle, or people in the same vehicle. That transition, by the way, oh God. What the fuck, man? Even though she wasn't very close to me and I wasn't very close to her, death is no joke, and we are all human beings in the end. So, and even though none of the 24 of you know her, and like I said, despite the fact that I hadn't seen her in years, I'm dedicating this stream to Lady Conrad. May she rest in peace. And I'm also going to dedicate this stream to Letta's death because I love her and I miss her. She's still very much alive, but I'm just hoping that everything's okay there. So, if you do see me kind of popping back and forth to texting and the like, that's why. And again, that transition is kind of destructive right now. Oh my gosh. Thank you everybody for being here with me. Thank you everybody for being with me. Earlier this year, was in fact in, I want to say early March. No, early February. Faith lost one of her best friends from high school. Someone who I, again, had literally only met a couple of times, but had a really big impact on me because of just the way in which her style was and the way in which, you know, she was very open and warm and things like that. You love to see and meet people like that, you know. And that was exceptionally hard. I still have the card from the funeral over there in my in one of my sets of drawers. And again, someone who I didn't know all of that well, but every time I looked at that for a while, it hurt. Because Libby, for example, Kristen, whose prayer card I have in that set of drawers, and another friend of mine who passed away sadly last year. They're all a lot younger than me, you know. I wasn't the oldest in that crew that were all, you know, into the Cradle Show and stuff like that, or that wasn't Friend of Faith's or anything like that. They're all much younger than I am, and to see them go early is heartbreaking, man. You know, it makes you think about your own mortality. It reminds you of a lot of different things. It reminds me that It reminds me that a Cover Killer Nation could have never happened, because I could have been dead at 24. In fact, it was really close. It was extremely close to me being dead at 24 back in 2008. And I think of that now, and I think about, damn, you know, just how much that would have been just an awful thing, because CKM would have never happened. We wouldn't have this great community. I wouldn't have met the people that I did. I wouldn't have had some of the experiences that I did. That friend Heather, we would have not become close friends like we did. You know, honestly, a lot of things would not have happened that are now extremely important parts of my life here in 2019. But, hey, this is, this is what makes family all the more important, and it's not always the family that birthed you or housed you or clothed you. It's the people in your life that really fit that bill. And if you feel like you don't have anybody like that in your life, well, then you do. Actually, you do have one right here whenever you, excuse me, right here whenever you come into this stream. Some might think that's the reason why we're small. I tend to think that's the reason why we're very close, why we're tight-knit. Might mean that if I ever move to Twitch and go for subscriptions and all those different things, I'll only have like 10. But at least I'll know that everybody that subscribes to this stream, or everybody who comes into this stream, you know, it's just part of the family. It's just part of being in the family. Yeah, at the age of 24, I was on medicine actually for depression that had some very interesting effects on my person. It seemed like it was working out at first, and then very quickly the other side of it really started to show its colors. And one thing that I can say is that whenever you wake up in the hospital and not know why you're there, that is one of the scariest things to... Actually, no, not one of the... It is the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I should not sell that short. Because whenever I woke up, I lost a whole entire evening and whole entire night. I woke up the next day in a hospital not knowing why I was there, and it's kind of very puzzled. And everybody was around me saying, "You tried to kill yourself." And I said, "No the fuck I didn't." And they're like, "Yes the fuck you did." And I'm like, "No the fuck I didn't. What did I do?" And they said, "You took a shitload of pills." I said, "When did I do that?" Because I sure don't remember doing that. What ended up happening though was I had one of those little side effects. One of those side effects that they always talk about with medications. Yeah, it's annoying to hear all of that stuff on TV. I'm especially always amused by the one that says, "Do not take if you are allergic to name of drug they are promoting." It's like, well, no shit, Sherlock. If you're allergic to it, why would you take it? Up next we have Cult of Luna and Julie Christmas with Cygnus. That's up next as I'll continue onward. But the medication, while having also a moderate to high chance of suicidal ideation, also had a high blackout chance. And that's exactly what happened to me. I blacked out while I was sitting in Studio 1.0 in the loft, or the dollhouse as it's called. And I passed out whenever I was in there. I was sitting in front of my laptop, and I later learned that I typed to folks on a message board I was on about how I was starting to feel really, really dizzy. So I ended up passing out, and that's the last thing that I remembered. I remember that my eyes opened very briefly at about 3:30 in the morning. And the only way that I knew that it was 3:30 was because the only thing that my one open eyeball fixated on was a clock that was in the room. So I'm not even sure if it's real. I'm not even sure if this memory is real, because it seems awfully convenient that the only thing that I spotted whenever my eye opened was a clock. But anyway, apparently, whenever I passed out, I didn't just lay there. Apparently, while in that mode, almost like sleepwalking, I walked from Studio 1.0 into my childhood home and downed a bunch of pills. It's the things they found in my system I didn't even know existed in my household. I didn't know they were there. I didn't know where they were. It was all very foreign to me. It was a generic form of Celexa that I was taking, and this was back in 2008. So 11 years ago. And honestly, I stopped that medication immediately, as you might imagine. Waking up in the hospital is one thing, but finding out you're waking up in the hospital because you did something that you don't remember doing or knew for a fact you didn't do, only to realize, oh wait, that's in my system, and it must have happened after I did. The last thing I literally remembered was being on my computer. I don't even remember falling asleep or like passing out, and I guess that makes sense, that's consistent. Because sometimes you feel that you're about to pass out, like if it's something that is, something affects you, and then you just feel that, feeling. I remember feeling a bit dizzy. And that was it. I would have thought to myself, man, I'm just, going to lie down for a second. I would have thought, I'm going to lie down, and then I'm going to get back up, and then I'm going to do a bunch of shit, and then just die, and wake up in a hospital. Just the way I drew it up. Just the way that I drew it up. Now, cancel that medication immediately. day after, had an appointment with the psychologist that recommended it to me, that prescribed it for me, that was very non-empathetic. Came into the room and said, I heard we had a little accident yesterday. I said, yeah, that drug you prescribed for me almost fucking killed me. I then proceeded to tell him to go fuck himself and left. This is Cult of Luna and Julie Christmas. The song is entitled Cygnus. It's a CYGNUS. It's named after the star. But the knowledge of knowing that you almost died. I mean, the fear that I had for a long time was kind of crazy. I swore off pills of any kind for a long time, which sounds like I was like a drug user. But after having that experience with just one thing, I immediately thought this could happen with anything. This could happen with Tylenol. So I suffered quite a bit for a while there, and actually noted that whenever I finally allowed myself to, take something again, that I started to get real bad reactions to, like, a lot of OTC stuff. It took a while for me to get sort of back in the saddle. And the only thing that truly made me feel good, which I shouldn't be surprised by, was Vicodin. Yeah, the name of the last song was the Vicious Head Society with the Analog Spectre. Evil Toe just typed in chat. So, I never really had a problem with the drug, but I feel like if I wouldn't have gotten that, corralled and under control as quickly as it did, I could have. I could have been one of those narcotics or opioid numbers that are being discussed so often now, 10 years later. Oh God, Aurora by Triptychon. Truth Warrior, I composed a whole entire, there's a whole entire part of a story that I wrote on Facebook that literally came to being because I listened to that song like over and over and over and over and over again until I was done. Cult of Luna, OA, just had a new album come out about a month or so ago that we reviewed. Now that album does not have Julie Christmas on them. This was an album that they did a couple years ago that I actually missed, that I didn't get a chance to talk to or talk about. It's a regret of mine, actually. Over and over and over and over, and in fact, I believe I named a section of the story "A Spirit Wasting Away," or I may have titled the story that. So it did have an impact. Yeah, one thing that I always need whenever I'm writing is I need music that is within the mood of what I'm either writing about or whatever section that I'm on. So if I'm on a section that's going to be incredibly emotionally charged, I need myself to be emotional. I need to get into that mindset. I'm not the type that can just, put myself, I guess, in the universe. I mean, I do that, whatever universe I'm trying to create, I put myself into that universe in my mind, but music is a great way to help channel out all of those things and not just sort of be lost as to the hows and the whys, and trying my best to reflect that emotion in text, in writing. Am I trying to write a book? No. Back then, I was simply writing sections of a television show that I at one point had a sort of a fixation on pitching and creating. It was like writing a bit of a plot treatment for one of the more emotional parts of it. That is a dream that has long since gone bye-byes. But I do have book ideas that will never be written because I can never commit. I can never commit to doing that, considering the longest novel, quote-unquote, idea I have ever completed has been 50 pages, and that was incomplete, should I say. It was going to be entitled The Illusion of Safety. The plot was really dumb, as I recall. Brandon Frazier, thank you very much for your service in advance. Good luck at basic training. Go see your family. Go see your family. It's just 2 days before you leave, man. Spend your time with them. They're going to miss you. We're going to miss you. But we'll look forward to seeing you whenever you come back in December, brother. Take care. Hey, that is some good news there, Andy. That is pretty cool. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to them. I've always thought that whenever I finally drop the question on someone, I would want to do it in a real unique way. And I actually know if it was one particular person. Y'all can probably guess who. I actually have part of that sort of in my mind already. As stupid as it sounds. Simply because it would make so much sense, and it would actually take something that I've already done for her to a brand new sort of extreme and level. To the point that by the time it got to the time for the moment, it would be like a complete reversal. It would be like, man, why the hell you had me do all this? And then all of a sudden, bam, and it's like, oh, you know, do it, dude. Evil Toad, no. No. And Andy, I can't. Because it's not the person you think it is. And that's what makes it fucked up. That's why I said yesterday, which both of you didn't see it, but I'm not a good person, dude. I'm a shitty person, man. Once again, yeah, Julie Christmas was one aspect of this album that I think gave it a brand new atmosphere that brought Cult of Luna a brand new level of respect and fandom. Because it was something a little bit different. It gave their music a bit of a fresh perspective. Yeah, this is one of, I would say, a regretful miss for me. One that kind of sucks that I did. But you're going to have that whenever you have so many releases coming out every single year. You know, you can only get to so many, and if you run out of time, you run out of time. And I also know that the year that this was released, I was also going through a lot of training and a lot of education for a job that I've had for the past couple of years. So I've had, you know, my time was even more fleeting. But it happens, you know. What can you do? Well, it's about 6 o'clock. I said I wanted to roll till maybe about 6 and then step away, but we still have 2 songs left on the main Evil Toad playlist of Doom, and then there's the extra 3, which is about 47 minutes in length in total. So I think what we're going to do, is we're going to finish up the main two. We'll save the 17 extra minutes for Monday, along with ILO, that album, though that may wait Evil Toad until after VectorCon. Because if you're there, and I want to finally do that for you, man, because it's been since the first part of this month, It's been like an entire month, and that's been the only thing that's sort of been left. And I feel like it's been sort of dodgy, and we've both been sick. We've both had incredible tragedies that have befell us. So let's run into our next track, which is Yours to Devour by Forest of Shadows. And we will conclude our stream today. And take care, Galaxy Punk. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. But we'll conclude today with Body and Souls by Hands of Despair coming up after this. Okay, Meat Run. Hey, man, dude. I hope that things get better for you, man. I know a lot about what you feel. Definitely not in the same capacity, obviously, because we're two different people going through actually two very different things, but it has been a very difficult month in some ways, and it has been a extremely challenging week that needs a little bit of closure, that needs a little bit of, it needs to go beyond where it's at right now, and hopefully improve. So my appreciation goes out to you. My energy goes out to every single one of you guys, guys and gals, every single day. There's a lot of new people that is now true of. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm always thinking of you guys whenever I am whispering to the universe. Because you guys have been very good to me. You guys have been very good to one another. That is all just, that's awesome. It's awesome to have a very mature, very thoughtful, and very giving group of people. Did he not come back? As in not come back? Okay, I didn't miss much. Just me being gushy and mushy like usual. Yeah, those of you who are newcomers to the stream, maybe you've only been here once or twice, or this is your first time here, first time that you've ever been here. I do hope that you come back. I welcome you with open arms. Usually whenever we stream on weekdays, usually like Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, or something like that. It's usually on the weekdays. It's very seldom on the weekends. Usually starts around 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern Time here in America. So I hope that if you see the stream, hit that little notification bell. I know that you hear it with every channel that you watch, but that notification bell does help. How are we gonna move all the cats? We have 7 carriers, and it's honestly a lot shorter of a journey than whenever we had to take them all out to Faith's parents' place whenever they were fumigating this apartment. Whenever the freaking bolt of lightning hit the goddamn... This place is cursed, I swear it is. This place is really cursed. Thanks, Truth Warrior. I hope that things get turned around a bit. I think there's a bit of fear that I have, because I will be the first to openly admit when I'm scared. Whenever, I finally break down all of my walls and defenses and things like that, I think there's a little bit of fear that the next conversation that I have with this person is going to go poorly and not good and have more bad news or just something. I don't know. I believe that's just something that I just feel like I'm hoping that one of the, something that I try to do to be, one of the best things that I've ever done for another human being, not end up being destructive or bad or have caused harm, and just yeah. I can't even put it in words, because it does bring a lot of fear to me. And if I lost this person, I would be the one that feels like I have nobody, despite the fact that I know that I do. Because sometimes it's just a feeling, right? Sometimes it's just a feeling, Despite it not being true, it's just the way that you feel. That's the person that maybe you want to hear from, or the person that you want to be, or want to have in your life. But anyway, since we have about... we're going to go and say about 24 minutes to remain with the stream. I'd like to get back a little bit to the Q&A portion of this. Again, try to stop talking about that so much, despite it's just dominating my mind. But so let's return back to the Q&A a little bit. If you have any questions, go ahead and toss them my way. It doesn't matter what it's about. As you can tell, we talk about more than just music during these streams. We can talk sports, we can talk wrestling, we can talk life, we can talk tunes if you want. If you need advice, I can give it to you. And you know what? The funny thing about my advice is I don't expect you necessarily to take it. If you do, then hey, thank you. It's awesome. It means that you trust me enough to feel like that's something that you should do. But I always got kind of bleh about folks that got really mad because people didn't take their advice. So if there are any questions, feel free. It can be ridiculous if you want. Hey Charlie, I appreciate that a lot. I do. It's very important that there is a next generation, so if you do so, best of luck to you. Is better black metal or doom metal? I've always been a little bit more closely knitted toward doom, but I do like some black as well. So it's kind of a rough type, kind of like a rough little battle there. I think also what it is that like I have to be. It's a mood thing. I think it's a mood thing for sure. Hey, thanks, Meat Bun. And actually, thanks to Justin, who also dropped a buck a little bit ago. I'm back. I'll try to send you the email later tonight. It takes me a little while to put my thoughts in the words. I do better talking to someone directly. Take care and try to have a good night. I'm sorry, you and your tech department. Oh, sorry for us. Everything should be all right. I hope so, Justin. I do. Meat Bun sends 5. Says, I'll start out. What's the last anime that I enjoyed? Oh my gosh. The last one that I really enjoyed is one that I've enjoyed for a long time, if I'm going to be honest with you. I ran through Trigun again. And I just really enjoy that series. So, and that's been a little while. Back whenever Fate's brother lived here with us, he was watching anime like pretty much 24/7, and I think the last new series that I really enjoyed, this is a couple years old, so it ain't new, was The Devil is a Part-Timer. I really thought that the mix of humor there was really cool, and it was just a wild and crazy like little story. It was kind of fun. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. You can just put them in chat, though. No worries. You've given enough, man. Y'all have given enough. You've done enough for me today. So thank you for that, everyone. It's better Stoner Doom or Epic Doom? Oh, Blazy, you're moving back there. Hey, stop that. Stop playing with the cord. Oh, you're not trying to. You're just trying to get comfy. I'm more of a Stoner Doom guy. I'm not necessarily a stoner. You know, I'm not a stoner. I don't even smoke any longer. I haven't for a number of years. But I just kind of really like some of the riffs and the way that they, like sort of the very baked compositions are. You know, I really love High on Fire, Electric Wizard, Sleep. You know, they're groups that I really find easy to pick up and listen to. So I think that's why I like it a little bit more. Though Epic Doom, you know, if you're talking about like the Candlemasses and Solitude and Tyrannuses of the world, bands like that, I love them too. You know, it's just that I think if I'm sitting at home and I just want to listen to a little bit of Doom, I'm going to gravitate a little bit more toward the stoner side. Like, I'm not really too sure what you would call Elder in that department. I would call it more like prog doom, but man, terrific band. Obviously, considering they captured Album of the Year 2 years ago. My roommate is a cat. I believe I saw the DVD of that whenever I worked at the store. I'm not sure if it's that old, because I have not worked there for like 4 years. Sometimes I forget how long it's been. But yeah, that sounds like it would be, you know. I do a review of Between Lifetimes last year. I don't believe I did. I don't think that I did. Reviews last year, I know, were a bit scarce. If I did, someone will have to honestly remind me, because I don't remember. Doom metal can be a lot more emotional. Sort of part of the whole idea. You know, I guess if you really wanted to throw a genre out there for what Agalok would be, Doom would probably be your primary place to start. but there's a lot of different elements to their sound. Again, this was Yours to Devour by Forest of Shadows, which is ending, honestly, this video, a lot of just still life nature images. So you'd almost expect it to be part of a documentary, but very well done. We're going to finish up today with Hands of Despair with their track Body and Souls. This was from Well of the Disquieted, which was released last year. I believe this is the longest cut off of the album. This album, Well of the Disquieted, is all about mental disorders. And it's a very good album. It's a very good album. Yarg is a Blarg. It's kind of a long story. Hasn't been a very good couple of days. Has not been a very good couple of days. Artillery for the Sky is an incredible Black Keys band. They are a band whose albums just, each subsequent release gets better. Like, I remember finding Harakiri and doing 5 recent releases that featured one of their albums. I believe it was 3 that was featured. And I thought to myself, man, this is pretty darn good. I was pretty impressed by it. And then whenever Arson came out, I was like, holy shit. These guys just get it. Sometimes a band, you can't really describe what it is that they do so well. It just seems like whenever you listen to them, what you hear is a band that just gets it. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because it seems to really resonate with yourself personally. With you personally, should I say. Or it's just a sound or a tone that they have that just feels like it is bigger than what other contemporaries are doing. Well, Harakiri for the Sky feels like they are one of the groups that this sort of second generation of black gays, or like sort of these like Alcé worshippers, whatever you want to call them, they're the band that really seems to get it and understand what it's all about, and really cradles that balance very closely and ensures that their songs are both aggressive but also beautiful. Although they do seem to hover a little bit more toward the sort of more aggressive tone. And if you read some of their lyricism is heartbreaking. Some of their lyricism is absolutely heartbreaking. This is Hands of Despair with their song Body and Souls. The full listing of vocalists that are featured on this song are Luc Lemay, Vinicava, Marie-Helene Landry, Isabelle Laviole, and Sebastian Crotow. So there are actually a lot of different vocalists that are featured on this, and you will see that as, or should I say, you will hear that as time goes on. So we're not even 4 minutes in, and considering this is about multiple personalities, it's understandable why this has a lot of different vocal styles and vocal players. And thank you, Yargs of Lorg. I appreciate that. I understand that. Whenever personal stuff goes down, sometimes you really lose focus of some of those things. Sometimes things feel a little bit bigger than what some obvious answers can offer. But I appreciate that reminder, man. Thank you. I think Celtic Frost is just a band that you should explore, period. You should listen to Monotheist and experience actual darkness. You know, that is still, to me, one of the darkest albums I've ever heard. And I know there are plenty of bands out there that have a darker tone. I know there's plenty of bands out there that probably have darker lyricism. There's plenty of bands out there that make you more feel like you want to go and, you know, crawl into a tomb and, you know, put the cover of the coffin on. But something about that album is just absolutely, like, you're surrounded by black. It's insane. You know, sometimes you do that by setting out to make an album like that, and I think a lot of bands aim to do that, and that's why they sort of fall a little bit short of what Monotheist was able to do, because I don't feel Monotheist was attempting to do that whatsoever. I think they just wanted to make a crushing album that also happened to, and this is one of the rare moments where I feel like the Sound Wars, I feel like that actually helped that album, because it made the density feel even more claustrophobic, and the simplicity of a lot of the riffs on that album actually sort of aided in just the absolute sort of like very pressing feeling that you get on that disc. You feel like all of those riffs and all of that sound is pressing down on you. I do know a little bit about the with Fear Factory stuff. The drama is that the band's pretty much over. That is a whole big situation that involves rights and trying to see if they can keep the name continued despite other members of the band maybe no longer being a part of it. And it's a messy situation. There's royalties that need to be paid, or different things that need to be, you know, settled. I would not expect anything from Fear Factory for a long time, if ever again. Equilibrium's pretty good. I don't think I have the boner for them that other people do. If I'm being honest. You know, they're kind of just for me, they're kind of just like a half to like 3/4 chubby band as opposed to a, you know, full stock. You know, they're not in that position where, you know, if it was detached and you sat the balls on the table, it would look like a little man's spine right there with 2 feet. You know. Oh yeah. See, if one of the things about pop music, like pop music is very much dedicated to 2 things. The first one is physical. It's wanting to make you dance, or, you know, click your fingers, you know, stomp your feet. Makes you want to be kinetic. That's at least its goal or its intention, usually. And second of all, it's almost like the emotion or the feeling that you get from pop music is secondary. You know, you'll have at least 1 or 2 songs on an album that shows that artist's range by having them sing passionately about something. You know, maybe it's about world hunger, or maybe it's about a former love, maybe it's, you know, a female singer, you know, using power and using emotion to, you know, exorcise the demon of a bad relationship, or exorcise the demon of a horrible childhood trauma, or whatever. Same with male singers also, you know, not singling anybody out in that regard. I feel that with heavy metal and with rock and jazz and blues even, Physical kinesis is not necessarily its goal or its effort, but their goal is to make you feel. And that feeling can become physical in the form of emotion, in the form of mental depth, thought. And if you ever have the experience where you listen to something and it makes you feel trapped, or it makes you feel, if it changes your mood at all, then that band's done something good. That band has done something to be marveled, And I would ignore specifically just the idea of this song makes me want to bang my head, because headbanging is just part of heavy metal culture. Something that we've been conditioned to want to do to a lot of the music that we listen to. I would instead go for if a song or a band is able to take your mood and almost put you in a brand new place. For example, if you listen to In the Shadow of Our Pale Companion by Agalloch, if during the middle part of that song you don't feel like your body is being transported to a forest, to see the river that's being described in those lyrics, if you're not seeing yourself sitting in reflection of what has been done and how it washes away with time, then I don't know what it's going to take for it. I don't know what it's going to take to crack that shell that you got. Or maybe that just makes me the weirdo that is very visual with listening. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not doing Rest in Peace videos anymore anyway. A bunch of people just yelled about those. Just dumb. Mirak, no, it hasn't yet. No, I haven't done a lot of listening. The listening that I've done today has primarily been what we've listened to here in this stream. So I haven't even... The fact that I have this light on, that's an accomplishment for the day. Yep, sure did. I did sound of omnibus, or ominous rather. Kind of regret it. Kind of regret it a little bit, if I'm being honest, but whatever. Cannot go back and change that now. Kind of a shame that that's the truth. It's kind of a shame that there's not like a like instead of a delete button, it's just like an archive button where you just have it go silent. Which I guess there actually is. You can transform it from public to private, which sure wish I would have thought of that then. The last show that I went to was last year. It was Weezer and Pixies. Actually, someone was supposed to maybe come out to that show. Rip the revenue. Honestly, the revenue was not nearly as big as people made it out to be. Again, that's something that's just... First of all, if you are a YouTube channel, it's a good chance that that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing anyway. Second of all, every major news source, every major news site, all of those, you go on there and you research or you read articles about stuff like that, they're getting paid. You think they give a flying rat's ass what you think about that? They don't. Because to them, they are all about that money. That is what it's all about for them. Yeah, I have some good memories with Weezer, if I'm being honest with you. How much was the revenue? Oh, good lord. Oh man, you look at the views that those videos got and you would think that the revenue's like in the hundreds or thousands of dollars. God, no. Those are videos that would maybe pull $20. Maybe, if that. Yeah, tell me we say hi, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, like, that controversy was all about really small amounts usually. I think the one that may have done the best monetarily was probably Lemmy. And again, like, with a lot of those, I didn't even think about that whenever I posted them, because I don't even look at that. It just became sort of a natural part of the upload. Whenever I upload videos, all I worry about is title, description, and tags. And if I have a custom thumbnail for it. You know, for a while there, I wasn't even placing stuff in their proper playlists until long after. So I wasn't even being very good about that either. So I would always end up having to go back later on and take care of that. But yeah, everyone made a big stink about something that was extremely tiny. We do have one more song we're actually going to listen to. I'll go ahead and toss this on for you right now, Meat Mun, because, you know, sometimes you just need it. And this looks like a you just need it song. And he also says, pull up the lyrics for this one. This is what I'm feeling right now. So we're going to go ahead and actually finish up with Blue and the Gray by Parkway Drive. Thanks to the $6 donation by Meat Mun. And we are going to conclude for the evening. Everybody deserves at least one. That's kind of loud. But we're going to keep it going. This is from Atlas, which I believe I reviewed. That last song was Hands of Despair, Body and Souls. I have been keeping up with NWA Power. I honestly think it's one of the better shows that are out there right now, to be perfectly honest. You Just Needed songs are the best. Yeah. They really are. Like, you want to listen to something different, you want to, maybe explore out there, but you just sit there and think, you know what I really need? I really need to listen to a song that I actually didn't play in stream that I thought I was going to, by accident, by Liquid Tension Experiment. My supposed happy song, which I have not played all week. I'm going to read these lyrics because he was a request of his. Oh, wow, that... Okay, I gotta walk away from that. Oh my goodness, that is something. That was too real. That was way too real. Okay. The funny thing is sometimes you almost wish that some of these, some of the metalcore, some of those bands, some of the great lyrics that they write, but some of them do. When I was just reading, this is one of them. You almost wish that some of those lyrics were handled a little bit differently. But I guess that's why, there's different styles of music. And people like handling things different ways. It's real cool. I like it. But Yeah, NWA Power has been a really good show for its first couple of episodes. Definitely something to check out. It's available for free on YouTube every single week. So it's impossible to miss, you know. Usually drops every Tuesday, which is also the same night that AEW Dark premieres their brand new episode. So every Tuesday you have at least 2 hours of wrestling that you can enjoy right here on YouTube, which is honestly incredible. You know, there is so much wrestling out there right now, and it should be overwhelming, and it kind of is, because like a lot of the stuff I was really kept up with before, I'm not as kept up with now, because now there's just more to kind of look into and watch or enjoy. But doing my metal dance, well, I'm sure we all would love to see that. That way we too could do the metal dance. But anyway, there's so much to watch now, and it's honestly great for the business. I don't feel like oversaturation, that feeling has really reached yet. You know, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it's able to hold up for a couple of years, and we'll have another great boom period on our hands. I think that we are really on the threshold of that. AEW is great for the business. NWA Power is terrific for the business. Really, right now, the companies that sort of need to return serve a little bit is Ring of Honor. I think Impact is honestly going to start to step up a little bit and improve, because they also have Twitch on their side, along with AAA. I mean, New Japan's always had great matchups and great stories and all of that, but they haven't had like one of those real big moments for a while, and I don't think that they're going to until Wrestle Kingdom. But I think Wrestle Kingdom is going to be massive for them, because it's going to be the last match of Jushin Thunder Liger, and that's going to be big. If that is handled correctly, that is going to be major. I mean, heck, you need to, you know, Trevor Murdoch being over on NWA Power is just like Trent Beretta being in AEW, and was formerly in New Japan, one of the best friends. A lot of those guys that WWE really didn't have an idea of what to do with. I think the greatest thing that comes from all these different options that we have these past couple of years is that careers don't die just because your WWE, career dies. There's a good chance that you can get paid very well and do very well for yourself. But anyway, folks, thanks for stopping out. I apologize if this was a surprise, or it seems like the title was a little bit extreme, but I wear my heart on my sleeve, so it's how I was feeling. I felt like I definitely need to talk to somebody. So, if I bothered y'all, I apologize. I thank you, though, for stopping in and spending some time with me and spending some time with your fellow members of the nation. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. We will be streaming again on Monday. Thanks again, everyone. I'll talk with you later.